Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. And Spence is here.
Are you here? Are you Nick AI or are you Nick?
Yeah, I'm Nick GPD or
That's
G
it.
yeah, whatever,
Okay.
whatever the acronym is.
And Gally's here.
Good morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning. KD's on the way to Disney World. Disneyland.
Oh.
Disney World, yeah. Our numbers 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So it looks like summer is over, isn't it, Nick?
In terms of what?
Weather.
No.
There was one day.
No,
Well,
it's
it's at least here in Wilmington, it was the last 3 weeks. It's been beautiful all week, and then kind of crummy on Saturday. But
Oh.
I mean, it was like we broke a record high Wednesday. It was like 86 down here, 85 down here. Beautiful out.
I think we broke a record on Thursday.
Yeah, maybe it was.
Actually, the records it matched records.
Oh,
It didn't break it because there were times in the 70s that they had temperatures in the 80s. Yeah, I remember.
Okay.
I remember drilling down into that to actually look at the charts.
but it was
So
beautiful.
for that
I mean,
for that specific day, yeah, okay, for that
Yeah.
calendar
Oh
day.
yeah, that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking here. 65 today, 77 tomorrow, 82 on Tuesday, 79 on Wednesday, and then 79 next Saturday, 58. So
Yeah.
I'm good.
no, it's fine. Yeah. And nothing wrong. I take that. I mean, the rest of the country was suffering big time.
That's a them problem.
That's
I've got some very exciting news.
okay.
They are. Do you have a drum roll for me? They are.
Well,
They are opening a Harbor Freight on my side of town. I am so freaking thrilled.
Ooh.
It's like 5 minutes away. The one right now is almost half an hour away. I'm very excited.
that means that they're doing good.
Yeah, of course they are.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah,
So-
I've been visiting them about once a week in the last month or so. Get what kind of little pieces.
Met some people that used to live where I lived in upstate New York, Wappingers Falls, and he told me that they have a Harbor Freight in Wappingers Falls now. Which is like, really? Doesn't make me want to move back.
I think you're seeing, and to bring this back to technology, this is going to sound really weird, but with TikTok and Instagram Reels and Facebook stories and the popularity of things like Pinterest, you've got a lot more people that you would not immediately assume to be handy people that are trying projects and things out because they're seeing kind of DIY videos online. And a great way to start your DIY is to buy the Pittsburgh Automotive 701 toolkit for 8 cents or whatever ridiculous amount of money they charge for it. So there's a big push there. I mean, I bought a jigsaw there a couple weeks ago, and I mean, not that I couldn't buy a jigsaw at Lowe's or Home Depot, but it was like half the cost. And for just a little wood jigsaw, it's perfect.
And if you don't have a full-time commercial use for it, it'll last you forever.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're not necessarily terribly precise tools, but I have a 12-inch, what do you call it?
Chop saw?
Miter saw, like a
Miter saw.
rolling miter saw that I bought. It was like $150. I still use it for doing imprecise things like cutting laminate floor or whatever it is. And I have a new one that's a much better one, a DeWalt, that is for, if you wanted to build furniture or something like that. But this old one, you can't beat it. It's missing parts. It just keeps working, but it's for what it costs, it's amazing.
Hannah had some projects that she had to do, like a box with some switches on it. And one of the main switch was 7/8 round. It had to go in a plastic box. I mean, heavy plastic box. I'm thinking, "Shoot, how I'm going to drill that?" And looked and looked and looked. And I always wanted one of these, but I never got one. The step
Drill. Yeah,
bit.
they're amazing.
And we looked, and they're not cheap. But then one of the search results came to Harbor Freight, and they had it for like $13. And she said, "Okay, I'll go tomorrow. I'll pick it up, and then we'll do it." I was amazed how well that thing works.
The key is to mark the step that you don't want to go past when you're drilling. You have to make sure that you put a piece of tape or something there so you just don't go too far and open the hole up too big. But they're great. I got mine at Lidl, a grocery store.
Wow.
What?
Yes, they have tools. It's very random. You don't know what they're going to have. They'll have routers. They have air tools. They have compressors. Like just once in a while, you go
You're
into Lidl,
kidding.
they have a compressor,
And they're
I'm-
cheap.
and it's
I'm
really
going to
cheap.
Lidl.
They're
Then
cheap.
I'm going to go grocery shopping at Lidl today. We'll see what we find out.
I got a Dremel-like tool from I don't remember if it was Lidl or Aldi, but it has
Crazy.
been so useful, and it cost like, I don't know, $19, and it came
Yeah.
with like a whole box with all the tool set, with all the attachments, and yeah, every once in a while I go and find some use for it.
I bought a set of diamond bits for Dremel. Now, granted, they're not going to last forever, but
Right.
for $9.99 for what I'm going to
Exactly.
use it for,
Yeah, that's the key. Fine. It's not something to use 8 hours a day on a production line.
No.
But it's for occasional use. I mean,
Don't dish them. Everything they sell, at least Aldi, if I remember correctly, they sell with 2 or 3 years of warranty.
Well,
right?
yeah,
So
it's pretty
like,
amazing.
yeah, I remember buying a soldering iron, very very convenient gun-like shape with the um damn, I don't remember the name of the with so it's an automatic lead with a trigger, right? When it
yeah, the
pushes
gun,
the soldering
soldering gun.
soldering gun.
It looks like
They're
a drill
cheap.
bit.
I wouldn't have
like
bought it otherwise if I didn't see it there, right? But it was.
Yeah.
I've used it since. It's amazing.
Yeah.
There was an amazing documentary goes along with what Nick was talking about with people doing home improvement projects. It was from the 1950s. It was a documentary about the 1950s in England with the crazy after-war do-it-yourself craze that went on. And they said it was wonderful, but it was extremely dangerous because there were nobody knew what they were doing.
People were not safe.
And people would publish something in a magazine. Oh, I can do that. And people were electrocuting themselves and setting fire to things and building structures that fell. And just, they had I don't know if they clamped down or not, but there was a whole growing pain period where people were trying to do anything and everything themselves. And they said that people that would try to do their own wiring and would be terribly bad. But
Yeah, popular mechanics and popular science, right?
yes,
With their projects and stuff. Yeah.
build your own nuclear power plant in your backyard.
Yep. Possible these days. Anyway,
Oh yeah, I could you can go get some plutonium down at Harbor Freight. They have it. It's not the top grade, but it's good.
I want
It's the
to.
one they stole from the Libyan terrorists.
That's it.
I want to revisit something that we talked about here years ago. DealDash. You see their advertising all over TV. DealDash, the honest, the this, the that. And people are not aware, apparently, what's going on there. Because in reality, it's, and the way that one author put it down, if you follow their terms, then they are not a scam. They're doing exactly what they say they are. But in reality, it is a scam. So you see the articles and they talk about, oh, I got this Bluetooth headset for $5 or whatever.
Yeah.
What people don't realize is that when you go to bid over there, and I found out back then, like I can't remember when it was. I think it was in the early days of the show.
Amnon,
Yeah.
you're assuming everybody knows what DealDash is.
Well,
and
DealDash
I've
is.
heard about it only now. I entered and I understand what it is. It's
get an iPad for $3.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
they're not a bidding site.
They say that they are a bidding site.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But they're
it's a penny auction, but not in the good way that they used to do years ago. But here how it works. You go to bid. So to bid, you have the prices only come up by pennies. So you can bid a penny or a unit.
It's a raffle, basically.
Well, no, because you
It's
can
basically a raffle.
you can-
that you choose a number. Right?
well,
It's-
sort of, but you can
Yeah.
continue raising. You can continue raising, and it's ridiculous. But the way that it works, so you don't look at it like this. If you got something for $1, that's 100 pennies. Each penny you have to pay for beforehand costs you 60 cents. So it's like you buying tokens
Tokens.
to bid, and you bid one token at a time. They make it so it's 1 penny, so it will look good at the end. But really, it's 60 cents a token. Not only that, but if there are 10 people in that particular bidding war, bidding back and forth, when the winner is announced, the other 9 people do not get their money back. They lost what they bid. Normally, in a bidding thing, you said, yeah, $1,000, and somebody else says 2,000, and you say, okay, I'm giving up. You don't lose that $1,000. But here, whatever you put in, you lose. So they're making a killing. And guess what? They're not based in the U.S. They're in Finland. But they're making a killing. So I mean, how much is I have no idea, a headset, a Bluetooth headset. How much would it cost? Gal, any idea?
Anywhere between, like, decent ones,
Yeah.
anywhere between $30 to 400, right?
All right. So if you think that somebody bought it for $10 on 60 cents, that's $60, right?
Right.
Now, not only you you put all this bidding into that item, if you're the winner, you don't just get it, you have to buy it at a certain price from them, which is supposedly reduced price, but they mark the item like it's worth 500 and they sell it to you for 200. So not only you put the bidding, you also have to buy it. Back when we did the other report about this, we figured out. I mean, we went online and we figured out that uh, a TV, and I think it wasn't even. I don't think it was even a 40-inch TV. Cost that something that you can buy back then for $600 or so dollars was $2,400 to buy it. But the person said, "Oh yeah, it cost me only $70 or something like that." I can't remember. It is really tricky, but they say they tell you if you read the fine print, they tell you that's exactly what they are doing, and a lot of people fell for it. I mean, I put $50 just because somebody was telling me about it. I said, no, I bought 50 uh, tokens to begin with. And I went ahead and I did it. I didn't win anything, but I wanted to see how it ended up. And yeah, I lost those 50 pennies, even though I didn't win. It's just amazing. And the more people that are going in, the more people the company is making because all the dollars that everybody's putting in. I mean, if the bidding got to uh, 10, 10 pennies, 10 cents. That's 10 cents time. Let's say that there were 20 people here. That's 100 and no, I'm not that. I'm losing my turn. So if there were 10 people and each one bid 10, that's 100 pennies. That's $60. If there are 100 people bidding, that's $600, and it's something that's worth $10.
Hmm.
It's really really sinister in a way because there's no like that one writer wrote when I was reading articles about it, said there are no winners. Even the winner is a loser.
I think they're playing on people's. It could be playing on people who are addicted to gambling
Well, that's
because they
one
can't
thing. That's one
because
thing.
you're
But
thinking, oh, if I just keep doing this, eventually I'll win.
yeah, but the thing is, what makes it
You will.
The what?
You
Yeah.
always win. As a gambling addict, you always win.
Yeah,
I always win. Spence, I always win. There's never a problem where I've not won. Every time, even when I lose, I'm winning.
That's right.
it's easier, I guess, to do it here because you say, "Oh, I'll just put another penny." You forgot. That's
Correct.
why they don't have you. That you have to purchase these beforehand, and you put it in an account. It's sort of like you forgot that you paid so much for these pennies, and you say, "Oh, it's
Let's
just another penny. Oh, it's just another penny." You know.
let's look at where and how this is advertised and marketed. This is advertised on over-the-air sub-channel television networks. Um, that's who it's being marketed towards.
Well,
You're not seeing commercials during the Super Bowl for
oh, I'm
any
sure
of
you
these
don't.
sites. You're not seeing this even on mainstream cable television. You're not seeing this. They are buying. They, talk about pennies on the dollar. They're buying pennies on the dollar ad time on some of these networks because all you need is a couple people to get in on this, and as you mentioned, they're making out like madmen with the
Yeah.
bidding.
And
How does
it's
this correlate to the so-called apps that you can get on your phone where they give you money to play? You see these ads where they pop up and it says, "Oh, I played this," and usually it's a video between two people talking about, "Oh, I need money. Oh, well, if you played this game, they'll give you money," and it shows their PayPal account just ratcheting up in $20 and $30 increments because they played the game.
Bingo plus or whatever. I see the ads all the time.
Oh, there's several of them out there. It's like,
Yeah.
come on.
yeah.
Yeah, and you talked about primetime television, right? What's draft something, right? With
DraftKings.
yeah, that's gambling as well, right? That's basically, and they start by giving you free money, right?
Well, yeah,
It's
but
the
that's
same thing.
actually no, but that's actually free money that they give. Those are
Still.
100% legit.
Can they give
Those
you?
are not. Yeah, those are actually like licensed, legitimate like brands in the United States, and they will double your deposits. I mean, I'm keenly familiar with.
So for retirement, if I put 50,000 in, they'll give me 100,000,
Sure.
and I can take the money out.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Wow.
Call Pam and tell her, hey, I'm taking out the 401k. We're draining it. We're dumping it into DraftKings.
That's
They're
right.
going to match our deposits.
And the guy's name, his last name is Madoff.
A reputable man. It sounds like a real
That's it.
upstanding citizen.
If you haven't watched that a series of documentaries, there was one that just showed up on Netflix. It was horrifying. Oh my gosh.
No. All right. Let's see what else happened this week. Oh, Nick, there was a story last week, and I was holding off because you weren't. The fall in Mastodon's popularity suggests this decentralized platform is not a replacement for mainstream services.
Mhm.
Twitter users put Mastodon usernames in their handles and trumpeted their migration. The new traffic knocked many Mastodon instances or servers offline. In less than 2 months, Mastodon's monthly active users climbed from 380,000 to more than 2.5 million. But not everyone stuck around. Active monthly user count dropped. It is now nearly 500,000 fewer total registered users than at the start of the year. Many newcomers have complained that Mastodon is hard to use. In all honesty, I only used it a couple of times in the beginning when Parler went to it,
Mhm.
and it was hell to use it.
It's
I
not.
don't know how it is lately,
It's not that it's
There's
hell, and it's not that it's impossible to use.
right?
But the reason people use mainstream social media is because there's a lot of people there, and there's a lot of content there. I mean, I've been on some of my Mastodon instances going back to 2015 and 2016. And while they're unique, some of them are unique to what they do, like the topic of the Mastodon server, it just doesn't have the amount of activity that Twitter and Facebook does by default. And that's
Right.
not a dig on Mastodon, but when people log in and want to look at their Twitter profile and or log into their Mastodon and see what's going on, and the last post was 7 hours ago, there's really not a whole hell of a lot going on. That's the reality of it. Plus, it's not as easy to use. The native apps on phones, at least on the iPhone side, I'm sure it's much better on Android, but most of the Mastodon apps on iOS suck. So you're stuck using the web interface, which doesn't have push notifications, doesn't support this, at least again on the iPhone. So it's a little bit more of a disconnected experience. There was this mass outrage of, oh my God, Twitter is over. Let's all move to Mastodon.
Oh yeah.
Now
that
all those
didn't work
people are
out too
back
well.
on Twitter because they're idiots. So it was the moral outrage for 60 days, and now everybody's back on Twitter.
there is there is a piece missing, right?
Okay.
Mastodon, as a technology, right? It's not designed to replace Twitter.
Mhm.
As a tool, it is designed to replace Twitter. What does that mean? you need to run your own Mastodon instance if you really want to replace it the way you interconnect with the world, because you need some computing power run by you, connect to the internet, right? That is reaching out to other Mastodon servers. If you are registering 1 million people on a site that hosts, I don't know, 100,000 accounts, right? You're going to crash it because it wasn't designed for that kind of activity. So Mastodon as a technology uh, uh, can go and be a solution, a distributed solution. Okay, not but it can't be mastodon.org, or I don't remember their website, their server name. But if everybody's going to just one server in Mastodon, yeah, you're missing the point. You're not using it correctly anyway, and that is why that's the block, that's the roadblock, because it requires certain knowledge. It's a a DYO, right? Do it on your own social network. It's not, hey, let's all hang out on this one single server, whether it's called Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn, right? That's one use of social media. If you want to use Mastodon, then you say, okay, I am enthusiastic about a certain topic. Let's build a server around that and let's connect around that. And that's what Nick is describing as successful, right? It's a replacement to, in one side, it's like a replacement to old time forums, right? Or the same concept as what Facebook groups and subreddits are around, but those are centralized, right? Everything is hosted by Reddit. Here we're talking about, okay, you can host your own and you can connect your own. Now, if everybody do move to Mastodon, but they connect to different servers, right? They can still interact with a single user and interact with all of these servers. But if everybody's trying to use Mastodon as a single uh, uh, on a single hosting server, yeah, you missed the point and you did it wrong, and that's why it won't work for you. And I think that's a good thing, right? That this stampede didn't really succeed. But I am guessing that if they were 300, what was the number? 300,000 to 2 million, right?
380. That's what it was in the beginning
Okay,
of
380,000, right?
300. Yeah.
380,000. So I'm guessing that grew to probably around 400 to 500, anywhere between 400 and 500,000 users who stuck with it.
Well,
Social media works as long as the people you want to interact with are active in that network, right? And so, yeah, if I moved to Mastodon and nobody moved with me, nobody in my family, nobody in my interest group, nobody, uh, then I have nothing to do with it, right? It's not interesting. The same goes to Signal. The same goes to Telegram, which are these uh, um, sanctuaries of privacy, even though they're centralized, centrally hosted, right? Uh, the same thing. It's like, yeah, so I can use that, but will I actually open the app, right? Just registering is never enough.
Well,
So
and you pointed out something that I think I want to make sure it doesn't get glossed over. You pointed out the fact that Mastodon is the technology and is absolutely amazing. The way in which it was used, which was a bunch of people that just left Twitter to go to another Twitter with none of the creature comforts and really none of the user base. It wasn't Mastodon isn't supposed to necessarily, not that it's not supposed to. It's generally not used like that. They were attempting to turn it into Twitter, and obviously that didn't happen. It just wasn't successful
Look,
because
so,
it was cool
funny
for a period of
enough,
time, then everybody left.
right? And funny enough, the only ones who actually did it right, even though I have no affinity with them, right, are Gab and Parler, because
Yeah.
they said, okay, we have this technology. They didn't say everybody go register at Mastodon, right? They said, okay, this is our new server, right? And if you use it in a certain way, then we can stay interconnected and we won't be controlled by anybody else.
Mhm.
Now, I might not like their opinion. I might not like the people who are joining there, right? I'm not there, but that's the way to use this technology. Funny enough, right? The developers of Mastodon, it pissed them off because they were on a completely opposite side of opinion and spectrum of opinion and said, we hate these guys, right? But this is exactly the use case that Mastodon offers. It offers you the infrastructure as long as you go ahead and you take it seriously and you do something with that infrastructure. But just using it as a user, yeah, you won't get any benefits unless somebody is running the infrastructure for you. So
And without sounding like a complete and total snob, which I'll try my best not to, um, I think a lot of the people that switched over to this, as the knee jerk reaction to the worst man in the history of the world, Elon Musk buying Twitter, um, they didn't they didn't have a lot of technical IQ, is what I'll say, and that I think
well,
made it
that's
even
most
more
people. That's most
correct. But
people,
you had
and
a lot of
that's not to
people.
the
Yeah,
yeah.
that's not a dig. It's just the reality of they were puppeting and promoting something without really understanding anything about how it worked. And that, I mean, the
Well,
great
that's
example
easy. They
is,
follow the tweet.
yeah, the greatest example was this guy, Bill Crystal, who is claims to be this, this Republican for days. He's just nothing but a, nevertheless. And he literally joined Mastodon, put out a, what is that, toot? Is that what they call it on Mastodon? The equivalent of a post. Um,
Yeah.
I think that's what they call it. Took a picture of it on his phone, a picture of his computer screen, posted it on Twitter, and said, "What do I do now?" Because it was just like he just threw it out there without any knowledge of it, and just got absolutely crucified on Twitter because of it. Because
Great
it was just
for
this knee jerk reaction to, oh my God, I've got to leave here, and all the bandwagon is over here, even though nobody really has any idea how the system even is really supposed to work.
really a
I
forum.
think
It's not
I,
a
Yeah,
social
it
media
is. It
site.
is really a forum. It's more like a. You're right. It's more like a Facebook group than it is
Yeah.
a clone to Twitter. Now they've made it look like Twitter by calling them timelines and some of this other stuff, but it's not Twitter.
And
At
you
least it's not supposed to be.
it is an infrastructure that can be used very similar to Twitter and anything else. But the thing about Twitter, Facebook, all of those, right? As technologies, yes, there's nothing really unique about them when they came up, right? What's unique is about how people started interacting within them. Remember, before Twitter and Facebook, right? We would be those because I'm counting us as those who actually used the internet before that, right? And we
Yeah.
would never expose our true identity. We will never. Politics would rarely be a thing that would be put on there. Baby photos will never go online, right? Unless you actually sent it via email to a personal acquaintance. So what they change our behavior, but it's not the technology that did that. It's just human behavior that changed, right? They allowed something new. I wish will find technology that actually aligns with that need, but right now we're stuck in this loop because most people are relying on somebody else to provide the technology.
Well, let's not forget that the I wouldn't say the rise, but the start of let's use Mastodon instead of Twitter and Facebook and all, started years ago when people were being banned in droves on Twitter and other social media.
This started way before.
No, no, I'm saying that's when it started to go up. That's when I heard
Yeah.
about it. That's
Yeah.
where most people
That's
heard
when
about it.
the it hit the public stage. Yeah.
Yeah. And even back then, things were so slow. That's what I don't understand if today is the same.
Well, it's still slow compared to a Twitter or a Facebook. It's still slow.
Well, so it's and if it's not being used right, and especially, I mean, this is like me taking Delta Force and saying, I'm going to host 1 million accounts.
No, but
There's
you
no
as
way.
Delta host, you can host a Mastodon instance
No,
for
oh
your
yeah, no, no,
Delta
no.
host
I understand,
for
but
your Delta host customers, and this still can be connected to the entire network, right?
yes,
That's what's missed here. It's like everybody thinks they need to go to a central
the
place and open
central,
an
yeah,
account.
right.
No,
No, but I
this is
remember
like email. Everybody needs to decide who's hosting their email.
we were gonna try, and we talked. I mean, Ron and I talked about setting up an instant on one of the servers that will be talking to that other server and all that. But like like you guys are saying, there was no traffic. So why are we doing this?
No,
There's nothing going on. Why should we put all this time and effort into it when it's not
exactly.
doing it? And it's a catch 22. It's like, okay, there's no traffic, we're not going to do anything. Well, you're not going to do anything, there's not going to be any traffic. So
That's the thing, right? If you're looking, by the way, this example, right, is exactly the reason the founders of Signal
yeah,
uh, explained that they'll never go fully open distribution, right? They will always control the um, the service side, and it's not because they don't think people shouldn't have access. It's because this is the only way that they can control the infrastructure and make sure that it's on the one hand available, and on the other side always up to date, right? Because if you want to host something for 100,000 people, then you need some sort of control, and just wishing that somebody, right, will run their own instance correctly isn't good enough for something that needs to be mission
yeah,
critical, right? So I understand the conflict. I mean, I'm still uneasy. I still wish I could have run my own service that hooks up there because I know how, right? But then again, okay, so now it means that, and let's say Facebook decides going full distributed, right, and open, like anybody can connect their own server
mhm.
to the Facebook network, to the metaverse, right? Um, how will that look? Now Facebook needs to hoard off. I mean, just look at the state of email and SMS, right? We still get spam. We still get unidentified uh, or misidentified, right, endpoints, right? Somebody is sending us messages in the name of somebody else, etc. If you put, if you allow anybody to be a junction point in such a network, right, you're getting into some sort of trouble here. You need to start to make sure that everybody is who they are claiming to, and we're getting to a network where that is happening more and more. That it's getting more precise about identity of source. So right, we have this conflict. Every endpoint needs to be identified, but everybody wants to also have anonymity. That's a problem, right?
Mhm.
That's a problem. That's a human concept that needs to be somehow interpreted into technology, and it's hard, right? Remember how cryptocurrency was presented as this? Oh, this is like the best thing in the world. This is better than cash because you're not identified, but then again, you can do transaction in the open and still keep your privacy, right? We now learn that's not completely true because every endpoint needs to, at one point, be connected to something real,
Yeah.
and that is exposed. When you are exposing everything, then you can track everything, right? So how do we keep the world completely free, completely authenticated, but yet untrackable? Not an option, right?
Oh,
Everything is a juggle. So with social media, right, there's always going to be this trade-off between um, being able to identify the endpoint, right, the person who's where they're doing it from, what they're saying, where, or you go with something that has some aspects of it closed out from everybody else, and that includes the criminals and includes law enforcement, right? Both parties, both parts, and you need to trust someone. So we have organizations like Telegram and Signal until they fail us, and the moment they fail us, that's when we're going to start discussing another system, right? This is There's no allegiance here. It's not about politics. It's about our human need, right? To, on the one hand, be able to expose ourselves, but on the other hand, be totally secure.
well,
Problem.
that's a good segue here to talking about Signal. The encrypted messaging app Signal has said it would stop providing services in the UK if a new law undermined encryption. If forced to weaken the privacy of its messaging system under the Online Safety Bill, the organization would absolutely 100% walk, Signal President Meredith Whittaker told the BBC. The government said its proposal was not a ban on end to end encryption. The bill introduced by Boris Johnson is currently going through Parliament. Critics say companies could be required by Ofcom to scan messages on encrypted apps for child sexual abuse material or terrorism content under the new law. This has worried firms whose business is enabling private, secure communication. So that's how they control it.
Of
They,
course, that's how there's always one or two aspects that you go to a public and you say, this can't go on, right? In Israel, it will be terrorism. In the UK, they use terrorism, but you see what he did there? He also pulled in child
yeah,
pornography, right? He uses catchphrases that will infuse anger, right? And so he gets public support this way, or that's at least
yeah,
his angle, right? It makes me, the privacy advocate, right, suddenly an asshole because I'm trying to protect a pedophile's
yeah.
right to transfer data. No, that's not what I'm doing, right? But it needs to be said, right? That the right of that pedophile is can't be there's if you can figure out a way of making the rights of them different than mine, yeah, we can discuss about that. But if I need to work in that same world, then I need my personal safety as well, right? And so I can't trust a government that tells me, no, you cannot use encryption. You can use encryption until this level. This level, no. Yeah. So it's up until now, as I said, Signal, and for now, they haven't failed us. And that's why I keep using them. Will that
There's a
change?
great
Maybe. Maybe.
there's a great term for that, Gal. What you just described in that author, and again, that's exactly the goal. It's called the straw man argument, and they use this. You bring up this one in this case. You bring up something that everybody inherently disagrees with. Anything dealing with pedophilia, use
Yeah.
that as your straw man, and then you go, well, now you shouldn't be allowed to use social media because this guy can't behave.
Right.
It's no different than gun control or anything else. I mean, it's all of
No,
this stuff
everything.
is straw man.
Gun
Exactly.
control, abortion, everything, right? Every
All straw man.
controversial issue
Mhm.
is used that way.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's
Because
unfortunate.
in every controversial issue, right? There are those that whatever rules you are trying to apply globally, it shouldn't apply to them.
Mm.
But and there are those who are going to be hurt by it. So yeah.
Yeah. It's
It's funny, you look back to the history of using words to malign someone. There was a famous case back in the 1800s of an election. I don't remember whether it was a state election or a federal election, where the opponent had a newspaper print an article about the other candidate to say, and oh, by the way, did you know that his brother is a thespian? Well, a thespian is an actor, right? But people didn't know what the word means. Oh my God, he's a thespian. I can't vote for him. His brother's a thespian. Counting on the fact that people would be unaware of what the word meant. Couldn't look it up unless they had a dictionary there. So
oh,
it's not new.
all right. So Nick, you ready?
I've never been more ready.
Oh, better be good then, Nick. You're setting a very high bar.
It's not actually great this week. But
Oh,
it's fine. All right. Well, we all love hanging out at the Alante Casino and Hotel. And Amnon, they have some great things that they can offer to you. Their BIOS version, their vendor, their core version, their compliancy, in this case, UEFI 2, their project version, their file name, and the build date, 306.2. We don't know what that is. And if all that fails, gift day every Thursday from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. as well. So if
We do
if
know
all else
one thing,
fails-
Nick.
Yeah.
It's within the last 23 years.
it's well, not necessarily. It could be. Yeah, no, I guess you're
What,
right.
in
Yeah.
the future?
Yeah, no, I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess Yeah. you're right. In the last 20 something years, I guess the question is, when did UEFI 2 point something? When did that
Yeah,
first become popular? So
Mm.
there you
Well,
go.
they're pretty updated.
Always a great day at the Alliant Casino and Hotel. All right, let's get into specials. We've got a couple of laptops here. We haven't had really much in terms of decent computers in quite some time. It's just been kind of garbage since the Black Friday season. I've got two very different computers here, as you can note, at two very different prices. The first is the HP ProBook 440 G9. This is a 14-inch 1920 by 1080p computer running a 12th gen Intel i5 1235U. This thing has got 16 gigs of RAM by default, and it's upgradable to 32. So this thing has got more than enough memory. And for whatever reason, these computers always have 512 gigabytes of internal storage. I don't know why. At the MSRP on this is $1,000. I don't know why they always skimp out on the drive. But this is a phenomenal work machine. If you're somebody that is maybe doing a lot of work with QuickBooks, Excel, any software that's a little bit memory hungry, which if you're doing serious work in Excel, you'll know how intensive that can be with memory. Same thing with QuickBooks and some of these other proprietary softwares. This is a great device for it. It's normally $1,000. You'll save 30% or $300, $699.99. This is available over at Woot, which is an Amazon company. So it's a very reputable brand here and purchaser here. Nothing out of the ordinary. Again, so this is on the very much high end side of the laptop curve. Now let's go down on the other end of it. And this is the Lenovo IdeaPad 1i. And full buyer beware, full disclaimer, this is not a powerhouse computer. Now, Spence and I both have similar body styles to this computer in our laptops that we have. But the specs on this one are very limited, but they're for $258. You get a Core i3. It's still a 12th gen, so it's a 1215U. So it's a top of the line, recent generation processor. 4 gigs of RAM that is soldered in. However, there is an additional SODIMM slot for you to put more RAM in. I believe this supports 12 or 16 gigs total. So you can throw a couple, you can slap another little bit of memory in there. And it comes with a 128 gigabyte NVMe SSD. About 30 or 40 gigs of that are going to be Windows. So you still have a little bit, you have decent storage since pretty much all you're going to be doing on this is browsing the web anyway. You're going to need a RAM upgrade. That's a given. But for $258, this is a really nice laptop to, if you're not, if everything that you do now is online, your banking, you're watching YouTube videos and all of that, there really is no reason to get anything with higher spec than this. You don't need the storage space. You don't need the fastest generation processor, especially on something like this. It's a 14-inch laptop. You just probably want to upgrade the RAM. It's 19% off. 258. It's got a fingerprint reader on the power button. It's got a backlit keyboard. In terms of ports, it charges with a barrel connector, but it does have USB-C. So it's got some nice creature comforts as a new computer running the 12th gen Intel processors there. So check that out over at Amazon. Next up, taking a look at an iPad. Apple has got their 2021 iPads on deep discount everywhere. You can get these in store at Costco and a couple of other retailers. I just picked Amazon here in case folks don't have a Costco membership. This is their 10.2-inch iPad, 64 gig space gray. Everybody knows what this thing is. It's on sale for $249.99, about 25% off. A good deal on a couple generation old iPad, but still, I will contend the top tablet on the market. The iPad just kind of blows everything else out of the water. How about this? Blowing this out of the water. How about a 75-inch 4K TV for under $600? That's exactly what you've got here over at Walmart with their ONN brand. This is available both in store and ship to store or ship to your house. This is a what they call a frameless. And looking at the pictures on it, the bezel is almost non-existent. Now, we've all seen bezels get smaller and smaller on TVs, but besides the bottom bar where the ONN logo is, the top and the two sides of the television there's practically no bezel on this. Now, that's pretty typical on higher end televisions, but you're in the $1,000 plus $2,000 range typically for these frameless TVs. It's got Roku TV built right into it, so you don't need to worry about plugging in an additional device. It's got plenty of ports and connectivity on it as well. It's got a couple of HDMI ports. Obviously, it's got the built-in Roku and some other things on it. $578 for this television over at Walmart. It's really hard to beat $600 or after tax, a little over $600 for a 75-inch television. So check that out over at Walmart. Next up, this device was in specials late last year. This was in specials in September, and I bought it. This is the Romos, I guess is how it's pronounced. This is a 30,000 milliamp power bank. And Amnon, if you can switch over to my camera for a second. This is the device right here. It's a very powerful device, 30,000 milliamps. It's big though, and it's heavy. So if you're wanting something to lug around, this is probably not it. It weighs, I don't have it in front of me on Amazon, but it weighs a bit. So for example, I don't carry this in my backpack because it's just too heavy. I think it's probably heavier than my laptop. It's got a couple of USB-C ports, a couple of USB-As. It supports 18-watt power delivery via USB-C, so you can charge your MacBook, your laptop, any new laptop that's got USB-C charging on it. You can have up to 3 devices at a time drawing power, and it's a relatively quick recharge. This device will recharge in about a day or so if you completely drain it out. It does take a while. It is 30,000 milliamps. So check that out over at Amazon.
And I noticed that you're holding it with 2 fingers and shaking it, and it's not falling off your hand. You must be exercising your hand a lot. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that heavy.
It is.
Okay, all right, no, it's fine. I mean, it was just weird that
Just a lot of practice. I'm on
I
a lot of
guess.
practice.
let's see. It weighs weighs about 1.5 pounds, and you might think, oh, that's not heavy for a device again this size. We're talking about something that's about the size of an iPhone. It is heavy, and if you're carrying it around if you have a laptop bag and you throw this in here with your laptop and your charger and all your other stuff, you'll very much notice the weight on it. So, but in terms of a power bank, absolutely phenomenal, and it's really hard to beat at $24. A really great deal on that, available over at Amazon. Next up, this is I know Gal's probably cringing because it's just a Wi-Fi device, but a lot of people still have Wi-Fi for their smart devices. We've all seen the old school traditional outdoor timers that will give you 6 hours, dusk to dawn, whatever it might be. And those are fine, but they've got inherent problems with them. For example, if you're plugging this in next to your front door and you happen to have an outdoor light, the dusk to dawn timer typically doesn't work. I can speak firsthand to that. So getting a device that is controllable via Wi-Fi is perfect. And that's exactly what this is. This is the Miros Outdoor Smart Plug. It is only 2.4 gigahertz, so be well aware of that. Make sure you're going to have to make sure you have a 2.4 gigahertz network, but you get two completely addressable 120 volt outlets outside for Christmas lights or holiday lights. The cool thing with this is while it doesn't support Apple HomeKit, it works with the A word, it works with Google, and it even will intertwine with things like smart things through an integration. Again, it still has to connect through Wi-Fi, however. Pretty hard to beat. $15. Get it for $27.90, or excuse me, 27% off. Get it for $15.99.
And it looks like it has.
There's a coupon.
What?
There's a coupon.
Oh, you're right. Sorry,
Slick Deal has a
$13.
coupon. It gets $13.86 total with tax.
Correct. I'm not even reading my own specials. I got involved there in the Amazon listing. Yeah, $13 on this. So really good price.
It looks like it has a hefty cable.
Yeah, most of
which
these
means it can carry a load.
Well,
Yeah,
it's in
and I mean,
apps.
yeah, typically these are going to be used for your holiday lights, or in one of the Amazon pictures, somebody's got like a gazebo outside and they've got little like Edison bulb lights strung through it. So it's great for things like that. And you can, again, schedule it to turn on and off based on the time. A lot easier than screwing around with one of those outdoor timers. So check that out over at Amazon.
Nick, you said I would cringe. It seems like these Miros, just looking this up, it's possible to communicate with them locally without going outside. So if you have Home Assistant, for example, you can set up a local MQTT broker. And yes, I know this all sounds like buzzwords and stuff, but it means that privacy-wise, even though you are using Wi-Fi, you not necessarily need to expose it to the network, at least once maybe. But you don't necessarily need to expose it to the network in order to operate it. So it's still a fantastic choice.
They do have two. When you look at the 4 options on Amazon, it says HomeKit version is more money than the non-HomeKit version.
Yeah, but you don't care about HomeKit. HomeKit is specifically Apple. Sorry. Yeah. We don't care about Apple.
Oh, so they're not. Oh,
we're
okay,
talking
right,
about
right. I was thinking that it would limit you from a home portal.
Yeah. So cool device, pretty cheap. Lot easier than a timer. Check it out. All right, next up. Let's say you are you're in a position you're starting to get more and more devices in your home office or your computer room or whatever. You need to connect them to the internet. Wi-Fi sucks. So let's go on to this device over at Amazon. This is a Netgear unmanaged switch. This is as basic, as simple as they come. It's a regular 8-port gigabit switch, unmanaged. It's as simple as plug the internet into port 1 coming out of your router, and then you can just plug in 7 more devices and they'll all have gigabit throughput. It's normally not an expensive device in the first place. It's normally $28, but it's on sale for about $19. So a decent sale there if you need some more ports in your office. Maybe you're behind your television console where you've got game systems and other devices you're trying to get plugged in. Check it out over at Amazon. This is for Amnon, who is.
Let me add to that. just one short thing. So gigabit Ethernet. So even if you have an old switch, right? This is a great choice to replace it and just improve the network quality. Even if all you're using is 100 megabit connections, right? This switch will be able to handle all of the 8 ports at 100 megabit, right? Compared to whatever you have if it's not gigabit Ethernet. So
Yeah, it's
that's why
full wire speed, non-blocking.
exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
check that out. Yeah, again, check that out. 1899. This is for Amnon, who's still running a KVM that's probably older than I am. Amnon, it's time to upgrade. This is an HDMI KVM, so you can connect it to your new HDMI monitor, and it connects to a computer via um, type USB type B to A. Traditional old school KVMs, you'd plug the keyboard and mouse directly into the device, PS2, and then it would transmit it to both of the devices. This, in case you plug the keyboard and the mouse into this via USB, as most mice and keyboards are now anyway, and then just connect a USB cable from the KVM to the computer. So you can switch back and forth between two devices. You can either press the button on the device, or there is a keyboard shortcut on it. So you can just hold down, I think it's a 2 or 3 key combo, and it will automatically switch back and forth. Not a bad price on it. It's normally $30. Get it for a little under half off, $14. So you can get that over there. This is by the way, this is the #1 bestseller in KVMs on Amazon. So it's got, while it doesn't have a million reviews, not everybody's buying KVMs. The people that are choosing this one. So I thought this next product was quite interesting. We've all heard and seen people talking about cell phone boosters. And they're normally very expensive, and this one is not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but it's normally $250. This is the SureCall SC Flare DB, and this is a in-building cellular signal booster kit. Now, you're going to have to do some research on this depending on what cell phone provider you have in the area that you're in. But it's pretty simple. The unit that you see on the front and the closest to you on the picture, that is the unit itself. Consider that like the network, the cell phone booster itself. And the unit behind it is the directional Yagi antenna that you'll string up outside your house or outside the building that you're in and point it towards the closest cell phone tower. And there's apps and various things, websites where it will help you position these devices. And it's essentially like a big Wi-Fi repeater, but for your cell phone. It does support 5G. It boosts voice on 5G data signals, on 4G LTE data signals, and 5G phones and devices. So this is just a 4G booster, not a 5G booster. They note that it supports about 3,500. They say it'll cover about 3,500 square feet. It'll boost your signal. So if you're in an area where your cell quality is just a little bit shoddy, and you need a little bit better connection, this might be a good device for you. But these are very much dependent on your location, your cell provider, and everything else. My grandparents have had problems with years with cell phones. They've tried different boosters, and the problem just isn't always resolved. So be advised of that. It apparently works with T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T. So check that out at Amazon, $149. And finally, who doesn't need a coffee warmer and a Qi charger in one? Well, here you go. This is a 10-watt Qi charger for any modern smartphone that supports wireless charging, and a mug warmer. Now, this does connect via USB, which I find to be very interesting. So I'm not sure how the throughput is necessarily going to be. You're going to probably want to power this with a pretty hefty USB wall wart, right? You'll need something that'll put out a couple of amps on it. But yeah, both in one. Uh, it's available over at Woot. However, the item does not allow for both mug warming and phone charging at the same time. because it is over USB. So choose. You either want to warm your coffee or charge your phone, or you buy two of these separate devices. Thought it was an interesting concept. $19 available over at
Well,
Woot.
think about this, right? If you're talking on your phone, you can't drink coffee, so you keep it warm. So while you put it down, that's when you pick up the coffee. Yeah, it works. Okay, we approve.
Very handy to spill coffee on an iPhone.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to
Yeah.
get into that. I mean, the practicality of it is kind of stupid in the first place, but I had to. It was one of those items I had to point out that it was available. So
Now, is this a coffee warmer or just a mug, empty mug, and it warms it up?
you could just waste energy by warming up an empty cup. I mean, it's still free country,
Yep.
so you could presumably do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thanks,
that's
Nick.
yeah, I thought that was kind of a neat one. Check it out.
Oh, neato. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. Give us a call. Make a comment. Let's see what else we have here. The Chat GPT always has some kind of. It's a major news outlets have begun criticizing OpenAI and its ChatGPT software, saying the lab is using their articles to train its artificial intelligence tool without paying them. Anyone who wants to use the work of Wall Street Journal journalists to train artificial intelligence should be properly licensing the right to do so from Dow Jones. And it just keeps going about how they are being screwed and all that. And I'm reading this and I'm saying, wow, interesting. So what happens if let's say I'm a financial advisor and I go and I read articles from Wall Street Journal and understands them, and then I go and I advise my customers according to that. I did not pay Wall Street to.
Well, there's one piece of information I think we're missing.
Yeah.
Did they buy a subscription for ChatGPT? What I mean is, is ChatGPT a Financial Times subscriber?
Now, you know something? You just said something that's true. If I want to read the Wall Street Journal, I have to have a subscription. I don't think they could have used it without a subscription because you can read a little bit of the article and then it says, hey, you have to subscribe. You're right. A good point.
I'm guessing somebody, look, I really don't really care. I know that this is a big deal. It's just something that was inevitable to come up. I'm actually surprised that it comes from something like the Wall Street Journal, but it's
Let me tell you,
not because I hold them in high regards or anything. It's just it seems like I would have expected it to come from something else. I don't know.
Let me tell you who else is in that group, among the group. Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Bloomberg, Associated Press, Reuters, CNN, and TechCrunch. They're among the groups that got together and complained. I mean, you're putting an article out there for what? So people will learn from it. So now are you signaling out an artificial intelligence that wants to learn? I mean,
that's the thing, right? That's exactly my point. Like if this was a person bought a subscription, reads your article, and you reuse it, and that's the exact example that you gave, right? Is like, what is the difference?
Right.
So if the difference is the audience, right? Because ChatGPT is going to be used as an engine that is asked questions. Okay, so me as, let's say here, as in Computer 2K, right? We what happens if we want to inform people on something that we've read
Right.
in one of these publications, right? Are we expected to pay a different type of royalty other than the subscription?
Right.
Right. That's what's unclear, and that's what I said is that's the piece that feels missing from this
Yeah.
uh, article. Yeah, it's uh, we live in a very interesting time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's fine. I mean, we need to go through it. So they'll change the rules, they change the law, they do
Yeah.
this, and it's
I'm
fine.
actually I've actually played with ChatGPT a bit this week. I wanted I've been for a long time. I've been planning on learning Rust, the programming language. It has some qualities that are very interesting to me, and I really want to start using it. And I also have like a mini project that I think that might be suitable to it. And I've always found myself struggling, especially in the past 10 years, just sitting down and learning something completely new. Uh, with Rust, I do not have enough points of reference. I know syntax, I know programming, I know, but I haven't done it. I haven't actually dove into an existing software or tried to manipulate. I need a scaffolding. I need something to start with that will make sense to me. Uh, and so I said, let's see how ChatGPT does it. Now, bear in mind, Rust is a rather new language. It's being evolving all the time, and ChatGPT's knowledge ends at the beginning of 2022. So, so knowledge there is dated, but very useful. And so, using a conversation like where I ask it, look, I want to build this software. It does this and this, and this is literally like the way the conversation goes. You explain in human form what you want this to do, and I tell it I want to do it in Rust, and it comes up with code, and not only code, it actually comes up with a step-by-step explanation of, okay, so you need this part of the code to do this, you need this part of the code to do this, you need this part of the code to do this, and it gives me examples. And I ask it, okay, can you give it to me in a single file so I can just copy paste it to the compiler? And I do that, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's it's flawed. There's errors. I say, look, I get these errors. He says, okay, try to make this and this changes because these errors mean this and this. So it remembers the context of the code it gave me. I give it the errors. It understands the wording of the errors. It walks me through, right, the process. It is a fantastic entry level tutor because you are guiding the tutor here and with your questions, and it's answering based on what you want. You're not searching through search engines for other people's question that might not have been worded exactly like yours, right? You're getting understanding. Yes, very limited, very functionally limited in its abilities, but still, you're getting a conversation with something that seems to understand. And this is a very novel experience. Uh, this is like having your own personal helper,
Assistant. Yeah.
and I would I can see this thing becoming the next Google, right? Very easily. Is it perfect? Of course not. Is it groundbreaking? Yes. So it's definitely the way things are going to change.
Uh,
And I am guessing it's going to change a lot of things that we already use, like and very soon, like like the voice assistants that we are using, right? Whether on Apple, Google, or Amazon. Those are definitely going to change. Um, Asking them question will start getting much more intelligible answers, not just formulated, not just something that, hey, it went into the template that the machine knows, right? And so it knows it has a set action to react to, but there's going to be now an option to actually have a conversation, right? Ask a follow-up question within context,
Mhm.
tune, right? The way, and the answers you get are compound answers, right? Not just you're getting an analysis of understanding. Whether that understanding is going to be what you asked for, not all the time, right? But this is going to be much better than the first five results in Google. So it's an interesting
It
ride.
you you're saying that it's helping you, and I talked with a friend of ours, Oz, this week, and we start talking about ChatGPT, and he was saying that he started writing a book before COVID
Mhm.
about some of what he was doing and some of the research, and he said, "I'm not. It just takes everything out of me to crank a page every now and then. I mean, it's
Yeah,
been a few years and I couldn't do it. Now I started using this. I give it the information, it spits out all that, and I have to just go in and change what I need to change and make corrections, but I can make it. I mean, it's just coming
right.
together.
It's a writer's assistant without writer's block. It's
Yeah.
yeah, because it always have, even if it's, even as before a tool like this, right? The way to move through writer's block is usually have a conversation about it, right?
Hmm.
Think out loud, do that. But when writing a book, you don't necessarily want to inform somebody, right, about all of the details. You don't necessarily want to, sometimes you're ashamed, right? You don't even want to admit it. But here you have something that can be as impersonal or personal as you need it to, right? And you can treat it, abuse it to a form, right? However you want, and it can definitely help getting out of writer's block for sure.
Yeah, and it works for him. So yeah, it will get better and better and better, like, with time.
Yes.
Listen to this now. Microsoft Outlook spam filters appeared to be broken for many users last Monday. That author writes, I woke up to more than 20 junk messages in my focused inbox in Outlook this morning. And spam emails have kept breaking through on an hourly basis today. Many Outlook users in Europe have also spotted the same thing, with some heading to Twitter to complain about waking up to an inbox full of spam messages. Most of the messages that are making it into Outlook users' box are very clearly spam. The issues are particularly bad after weeks of the Outlook spam filter progressively deteriorating for him personally. Now, I don't use Outlook or Outlook.com or whatever, so I don't know how it is, but I can just imagine. I can tell you that from my experience with spam on the server, most of the spam that's being sent to our customers come from Google and from Outlook.com. It seems like, they may be doing a good job for their customers for incoming spam, but they sure are letting a lot of spam out. And this is a situation where normally when I see somebody spamming, I can just block that machine and that's it. But I cannot block Google or Outlook. So it's a problem. It's definitely a problem. And I guess it's going to keep. I don't know if they fixed it yet. I mean, I didn't see any follow up to the story, but yeah, that's a problem.
I mean, to be fair, the fact that we are still relying on email,
Mhm.
in I say thank you that we're not relying on fax, but email needs to go. It
Email
needs
email will not go, but it needs to be fixed.
uh, f- yeah,
It
but
needs
that's
to
the
be
thing. It
fixed. So
won't. It won't.
email in
So
its current state needs to
we
go.
need email version 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now there are, right? There are solutions that completely replace email, but for a very small group. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Email is
again.
ubiquitous, right? It's all everywhere, and replacing that is it's a social problem. It's not a technological. It's not a technological problem.
I mean,
So
we at Delta Force, we decided years ago that we are going to scan every incoming message, but we also scanning for spam outgoing message.
yeah,
So if somebody is sending out something that looks spammy, it will send them a message back. No, you can't send that. And they'll get in touch and they say, why? I mean, and I would look at it and I said, oh, okay, it's because you were forwarding an email that had a bunch of stuff, links at the bottom, and it looks spammy. There's no reason for you to do it. You can delete that part, and people needs to know how to use email. You can't,
I agree.
you don't just reply and send it. I mean, first of all, you create a lot of traffic, and especially in mailing lists. It's another message, another message, another message. All the replies you want to say yes, and you're sending out a 40 megabytes worth of, it's bad. So by scanning it, you're actually educating the user. But yeah, it
Agreed.
needs, like you said, we need email version 2. Absolutely. And I talked about it before. And years ago we found out there is an option in a configuration of a mail server to only accept email from legitimate, well reputable servers. And
They
you
are the
can't
one providing most of the spam.
no, but you can't, no, you can't use it because a lot of them are not configured correctly. They still work, but they're not configured correctly. So you block them automatically. So you can't do that. And once they say, I always said, if Microsoft or Google, back then there was also Yahoo, if they sit down and said, okay, you know what? That's it. We're going to have to set up a registry for mail servers, just like DNS servers, that you have to register them and all that. And then you can say, I only accept mail from there. So you sitting at home, you wouldn't be able to send spam on your own, set up a little server and send spam out, which will
Right.
cut
But
down.
then
Not
MailChimp will be out of work. Come on.
No,
We can't allow that.
Mailchimp will only need to register their mail servers. They'll have to police it better, but all they have to do is just, hey, we are a legitimate, it's not like somebody said there's a lot of applications for spammers that they would just, it will set up a quick instant of a mail server on their local dynamic IP that they're using at the moment, and they'll send out, in an hour, they'll send millions of emails, and that's it. Now, this will solve that problem. It's not the only problem out there, but yeah, it is. Yeah, it's just wishful thinking. It'll take years. Okay, now talking about verification stuff. So Meta announced a new $11.99 a month subscription on the last Sunday. It's a $14.99 a month for Android and iOS. For your money, you mainly get the privilege of authenticating your own account with a government ID. I don't understand that. so that it can then display the official verified badge. Accounts must have a prior posting history with accounts holders verified to be at least 18-year-old. Meta promises they won't change already verified Facebook and Instagram accounts, at least not as we test and learn. But they immediately follow that with a sentence by warning that in the longer term, they are evolving the meaning of verification. So you're
This
gonna
really
pay
pisses me off.
you pay $12 a month just so you can have
It's not even that. It's not the verification that pisses me
Oh.
off. It was the unbelievable outrage from individuals when Elon Musk brought forward the idea of charging for verification. That's why all these idiots ran over to Mastodon and all these other
oh
social networks because, oh my God, it's the end of Twitter. Yet nobody bats an eye when Facebook tries to do it. It is just, it just goes to show you the level of moral authority that and moral character that these individuals have. That there's the I don't think I think both of them are equally stupid, but I'm not seeing the mass exodus from Facebook today that we saw from Twitter when they announced a cheaper similar system. So,
It barely made the news.
of course, yeah, of
Yeah.
course, it barely made the
Yeah.
news. Yeah, it's not even a relevant topic yet.
$12.
Elon does something,
I
and all
don't.
hell
I
breaks
don't
loose.
think it's because I understand why it seems that way, but I really think it's because Elon Musk was the first one in midst of other controversies, right, around everything that has to do with Twitter. And here, Facebook is just following the lead at this point. They're doing nothing new. This is the same type of outrage we see on Netflix raising the price versus, I don't know, Hulu doing something or
Disney.
Disney Plus doing something, right? It's like, okay, we were angry the first time. The second time is just we're puzzled. Right?
Yeah, I think
Like,
there,
yeah,
I think it's a little bit deeper than that. I think there's very much a politically charged and politically motivated aspect to this. And I that is what I find so frustrating.
Yeah. And Gal,
mm,
you're not doing enough reading. Who said Netflix is
I'm
raising?
not reading at all.
Who says that Netflix is raising?
Say it one more time.
Netflix has reduced the cost of its service in more than 36 countries in recent weeks as it tries to appeal to customers around the world who have an ever growing list of streaming options. The streaming company recent price cuts span Middle Eastern countries, including Yemen, Jordan, Libya, and Iran, sub-Saharan African markets, including Kenya and European countries such as Croatia, Slovenia, and Bulgaria. In Latin America,
What's in common of all of these countries?
but
These are countries I know because Israel is strangely omitted there.
yeah,
These are countries that the culture, right? I'm not saying the laws. The laws are pretty much similar to here, but the culture of uh, consuming pirated content, right, is stronger than going out and paying
okay.
a hefty sum for content. So these countries, right, they're losing market share because they're not cheap enough. They need to be cheaper than the pirated option.
Okay.
That's what's
And
you don't hear there Britain, you don't hear Germany, you
right.
don't these are countries, right, where the economies have usually been strong and the mentality of paying for services, right, especially digital services, has been established, has been a stronghold, right? You don't hear there the US,
Right. Not yet.
right? Yeah, exactly. Not yet.
They're saying that the cuts apply to certain tiers of Netflix in those markets, in some cases, halving the cost of subscription. Half.
Yeah. That's probably because they were losing half of their customer base
Yeah.
every time they were hiking the price.
Yeah.
So
So it's that's first time I saw Netflix and reducing.
yeah, but keep in mind, right? Netflix serves different content to different audiences. So when they are streaming to you mentioned Kenya there, right?
Yeah.
So when they are streaming to Kenya, the options of what to watch is completely different. What we don't hear in this article is whether they cut content as well.
Have you
And the
noticed
reason
how
we don't hear is because we won't get that piece of data.
I'm seeing many more titles on Netflix that are in other languages dubbed. I don't
Yeah.
remember ever seeing this many. I mean, all different types of, in Farsi and French and whatever.
Right,
These
it's
are
because
these are
they're
movies that are
introducing
produced.
content
I mean,
from, yeah.
to marketing to us. So that tells us what's happening to the U.S. market. Why are they adapting that?
Well, they're not so much marketing to you as they are buying content, right, elsewhere, and hoping that this will uh, be successful in other markets.
Boost.
I
Yeah.
can tell you as an Israeli, right? When we see, I'm not even a Netflix subscriber, but when we hear that an Israeli production, right, makes its way to Netflix has either bought the production, is paying for the next season production or something like that. It's a sense of achievement, right?
That's
Sort
it.
of
Achievement.
So it is. It
Yeah,
is
yeah.
really a marketing thing, and I'm not
Right.
objecting to it. I'm just saying I'm seeing. There are a few shows that I've watched dubbed that were produced. One was produced in, of all places, Luxembourg, and it was actually very well done. And I watched it. I put
Right.
up with the weird uh, dubbing, but it was worth watching.
And think about Netflix point of view. This is their leverage on US content makers, right? It says, I don't need your stuff if you're overpricing it. I can go to Luxembourg and I can buy some very good TV. And they can have the numbers because of all of the metrics that is being collected. And they have a ton of metrics, much more than any movie the MPAA supports, right? And so they can show, look, we have people actually watching and enjoying it. They're watching it from start to finish in one sitting, right? Maybe sometimes repeating it. So it's definitely, it's a leverage, right? It gives them huge leverage with the market, and I think it's a normalizer. It's actually a good thing. Do I love Netflix and what they do? I love some aspects of it. I mean, they are definitely breaking the old system and creating a new mold. So it's always interesting to follow.
Yeah.
One show in particular, it looks like it could be a good show. It's something like Fascinating Lawyer Wu or something like that. I believe I don't know if it's Japanese or Chinese, but the point was that they only offer it in the spoken language with subtitles, and I can't follow. Personally, I can't enjoy something that's just in subtitles. Usually, especially when
That's
it's
because you
very
are not
rapid,
conditioned.
very rapid speech. I would like to watch it because of the synopsis of the series looks very good. But I think it's
Yep.
Japanese. Yeah.
On
You can
that,
ask Amnon.
what?
You can ask Amnon.
Oh, I mean,
We in Israel, right?
you grow up with
we were
that.
conditioned
Yeah.
to live with subtitles.
I
to read
still,
subtitles.
I still, because of the hearing, I can't enjoy a show unless it's louder than what Kathy would stand.
It's funny.
I am using subtitles, and it's like nothing, perfect.
I don't have any
Huh?
issue with English subtitles listening to English, though. That's the weird part about it.
Well, then turn it.
because
turn,
it's confirmation of what I'm hearing. So
well,
it just backs it up. I can follow it very easily for some reason,
So
but I can't do it.
start watching US shows muted with subtitles.
yeah.
To train my brain. Yeah.
That's the practice you
I
need.
mean, for all practical purposes, that's exactly what I'm doing. Because if I check out, I mean, sometimes I sit with a hearing aid. Other, I without it, I can't hear. There's not. I cannot hear what is going on. And I tell her, I said, "You mean you hearing this?" She said, "Yeah." So this is just like watching an American show, an English spoken program, muted.
What
It's
annoys Pam is I wear earbuds
yeah.
so that I can listen to it a little louder, and she'll start to talk to me, and I'm like, I don't hear you. So I'll pause it and I'll take the earbud out. Okay.
Anyway, so since Thursday morning, Dish Network has been experiencing a major outage that's taking down the company's main websites, apps, and customer support system. And employees tell The Verge it is not clear what's going on inside the company. The company's Dish.com website is completely blank, with a notice apologizing for any disruption you may be having, while promising that teams are working hard to restore system as soon as possible. The Boost Mobile and Boost Infinite sites display a similar message. I never knew that these were connected. When when we called each brand's customer support lines, there were no humans on the other end. Each call automatically hung up after delivering a recorded message about the outage.
Well, Nick,
This is
Nick,
this
this
is
is
what their
DNS.
yeah. Well, I do know it's DNS, and this is what their website looks like currently. So it looks like they've got it a little bit more backed up. But I do love the fact that it says, "Thank you for your patience. Everything is awful, but hey, get inflation-free TV with Dish. Request some more information and buy our stuff. Look at these great deals." But sorry, the
It's
whole
not working.
situation.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's completely down. So there you go.
that's bad.
Well, I'll tell you what, there was a situation that didn't make it didn't make it really publicly at all because it was very much an insider issue. But there is a company that provides radio services, radio news. They're called Skyview, Skylink, something like that. They provide network audio to radio stations and syndicated programming through a system called XDS. I believe they got crypto lockered about 3 weeks ago, and for the better part of 2 weeks, their whole system was down.
Wow.
So anybody that was trying to take these news programs, like ABC and CBS top of the hour news on radio stations, where you would hear the news and then 60 seconds of silence because they had no way to insert any ads into the network. It was completely down. So
Hmm.
hopefully it's not something that serious, but when you have a complete system outage like this, it could be the case of, oh my God, we're compromised, start flipping the breakers on everything and shut all of it off. And then very, very meticulously and very slowly turning it back on piece by piece, isolating it from the network or networks and trying to get it back up and running. Because if you're a company of this size and you think you've got a serious issue, I mean, God, you've worked in big enterprise. It seems like to me, if you're the IT department in a company like Dish and you believe there's a serious breach going on, you just nuke it all and just because you almost can't risk to allow it to continue to traverse if it's still going on.
You
Well,
doom if you do, and you doom if you don't.
Absolutely.
yes and no. The thing is that nuking it all is next to impossible because you designed it never to fail. So it's so much work. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't yeah. And never in any situation is that network designed to go offline. And so nobody knows what they're doing, basically.
The fact that I use the word nuke very specifically because their website literally was nothing but a white page for like almost a day, which
Yeah.
is an indication that they just, I mean, they might have well taken hedge clippers to the power coming into the networks coming into the data center. Seriously, to just bring
Yeah.
everything offline. Um, boy, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's got to be ransomware, right?
I
We'll
mean,
find
it could
out.
be. The thing is, if it was ransom, if it is ransomware, was ransomware, then they need, right? They have no choice but inform in less than 2 weeks. So we'll see.
Let's do who is ish that
Yeah, I'm looking.
find
Don't
out.
see any new updates from anybody.
Well, it was last updated, the domain last updated on
Yeah,
2/23.
they're the number one displayed on Down Detector right now.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
they are.
Wow. Yep.
So I've got a bit of a predicament.
Yeah.
I know, and I hate to say this on the air, publicly admit to
Ah.
it, but Gal was right, and I've got a serious predicament. So a couple weeks ago, we chatted about AI earlier. I met Google, or excuse me, Microsoft brought forward their new chat thing, and they're integrating it right into Bing.
Mhm.
So I signed up for the signed up and added my name to the list, and it said I would get priority access if I used Edge. And Gal sat right here on this program and told me that I needed to switch to Edge. And I said no. It told me that I would just not get priority access if I didn't switch to Edge. Lo and behold, yesterday after I got home, I went to Bing, my search engine of choice, and saw the little chat icon. And I was so freaking excited, only to be met with this message that chat is only available to access to the new Bing. Unlock conversations and search using Microsoft Edge.
Come
So
on.
I guess
I
gonna
would
have a
say if this is your use case, don't use Edge because it's clear that the amount of metrics they're probably going to collect from Edge is going to be phenomenally high.
I don't care about the metrics. I mean, I've given that all away anyway. I just wish they would have been a little bit more.
Yeah, I know
I,
what you mean. I
I
don't
wish they
think
wouldn't
they
have let me sign up
decided
for it.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think when you saw the message that was even a decision and now they just open it as long as you're using Edge or something
Now,
like this.
I would assume that over time they will roll it out to the network as a whole.
Of
That
course.
right now they're probably they're using it as a tool right now to get people over to their a browser, which I think is fine. I mean, if
Yeah.
that's how they want to operate, more power to them. They have the right to do that. But now
Well,
I have the right
listen to
to
this.
decide what to do.
It says Microsoft is ready to take its new Bing chatbot mainstream less than a
Well,
week
Yeah.
after making major fixes to stop the artificial intelligent search engine from going off the rail. The company said Wednesday it is bringing the new AI technology to its Bing smartphone app, as well as the app for its Edge internet browser. Putting the new AI enhanced search engine into the hands of smartphone users is meant to give Microsoft an advantage over Google, which dominates the internet search business, but
So
hasn't yet released such a chatbot to the public. I mean, as far as
right.
Google.
So the way I'm reading this, right? If there is one thing that Microsoft has missed the boat on, right, is the voice assistant fad. They had and killed Cortana, right?
Yeah.
That that's long gone.
rest in
This
peace.
is yeah, I think this is their attempt of not losing the boat, and I am not expecting pun intended, this is going to be rocky waters. This is going to be very shaky, a very shaky ride. Neither Google nor Microsoft are ready with this technology, and because ChatGPT is such a role, right? They are definitely exposing something that the world is that they are not ready to expose to the world. I mean, that's what we get, right? We get a machine that outright you can either call it lies or invents data or isn't precise, just isn't precise. And so, starting with that, it's going on the one hand, it's going to strengthen tools that were successful, like ChatGPT. On the other hand, it's going to be a blow to the AI development process. It's definitely a speed bump uh,
Oh,
that is going to be everybody is going to crash on it because they're going to be available. They have the infrastructure. They know how to serve huge amounts of computing power and make it accessible to a mass, right? Something that Chat GPT, they need to build that gradually because they rely on others' infrastructure to do it, right? So they will definitely be the ones that are visible. They are going to be the Internet Explorer, while options like Firefox are still the best options, basically, right? So instead of the big browser war, we're going to get the big AI war, and everybody's going to be defaulted into the crappy AI because they're using Google or using Edge or Bing and all that, right? And then there are those who will go to the tool that is clunky in its operation, or it's harder to get to, but is superior in its performance, right? So that's how it's going to look for the next year, at least, if not more.
I was also reading that they compared. They said a lot of people are now ditched Google search and are using ChatGPT instead. Wait,
Yeah.
wait, and
Mm.
they were
My problem is the a lot. I'm saying yes, there are
well,
people
yeah,
doing it. Yeah, my problem
but
is the
they
with
they
the a lot.
were they were comparing and they were saying that Google has indexes of everything. So when you go and you search for
Right.
something, bang, it comes up.
Exactly.
With ChatGPT, it has to go and analyze it on the fly what you're trying to do. So it takes a little longer.
No, it's not that. It's a lot more complex than that because it's not just statistics analysis like what Google is doing on understanding your request and going to the indexes.
Right. He does.
Uh,
Google goes
yeah,
with
it's
the
a lot more
keywords.
complex.
Yeah.
It's a lot more. It goes through some sort, either a neural network or there's a lot of constructs in AI computer science.
Yeah. Neural
It goes
networks
through
were
right.
mentioned.
It goes through a network of logic,
Yeah.
basically. It goes through a brain of sorts, right? An artificial brain that tries to not only understand your question, but understand it in the right context and finding information about that context,
To give you.
understanding that. Now, all of that content has already been ingested into the data model, has already been indexed. The work that Google does on their data, for example, to comparison, has already been done on this, right? But now you need to make sense out of it. And that is a very, very time consuming action. I think, and I'm not sure because I haven't paid for the service. If you pay for ChatGPT, right, what $20 a month right now, uh, then you actually get very, very quick prompts, a very, very quick responses,
Oh,
even for complex things. So yes, it takes much more time, but the quality of the answer that you get, right, is much, much, much higher than a Google search result, unless that Google search result matches exactly the question you asked with exactly the answer you needed, right? So yes, it's a hit or miss, but the interaction is completely different.
all right. Okay.
We should this can be interesting. We should probably do a show where we have ChatGPT
As a guest.
as a guest, where we ask it question and we read out loud the answers and have it try to somehow keep it in the conversation and see how just as to give some of our listeners like what I'm talking about. What is this unique approach to questioning and answering a machine, and
Huh.
how it comes up with answers. That can be a very fun
It
experience
could
for,
be.
I don't know,
Yeah.
10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if we want to do that, especially because our show is on weekends, I think we actually need to pay, because I don't think we can get availability otherwise. But I can set up an account and try it once.
Oh,
Well,
It can be
you
fun.
have an account. I have an account. Amnon does too. So we could jump between the different accounts. I mean, obviously, we won't have a full conversation with it, but
Yeah, so I'm thinking like actually like sort of
Hey,
not
I'm
exactly transcribing, but giving it some point exact.
Yeah.
But it's yeah.
so are you saying I just heard something. Are we saying okay, so Amnon starts his account, Gal starts his account, Nick his account, Spence his account, and we stay asleep. We just let ChatGPT run the show. and
Oh, I mean,
talk
that's
You
between
you
itself.
I mean, that's the best idea. Yeah, I mean that's clearly the best idea.
yeah, I think it has still it still has some problems with fixing issues related to Twitch streaming. It doesn't do that very well.
Oh, that's true.
So-
Well, I can get up, set it up, and everything, and then go. You don't have to get up. All right. This is.
I wonder if we give it credit at the end when you are greeting everybody good morning, will it notice and join us?
I don't know if I send it an invitation. would it-
Yeah. Hey, ChatGPT, can you call us at 919-518-9773?
Shh, don't say that. It will in a second. Oh. All right. This is really, I mean, this article, which starts.
That's what?
It's for the older generation, I think. And I wonder, it is the children's toy invented in Britain that inspired the passion for engineering, science, and technology in generations of youngsters and their
Slinky?
parents. You know what we're talking about?
The Slinky?
No. Meccano. You know what that is?
I know. Yeah. Before Lego even. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rods and
Yep, exactly. Meccano building
and
sets
screws. Yeah.
filled the reusable perforated metal and later plastic. I didn't see that. Strips, plates, nuts, bolts, winches, wires, wheels, and even motors have been used to construct models and mechanical devices for more than 120 years. Now, the last dedicated Meccano factory in the world is being closed and dismantled. The Canadian company that owns Meccano has said the plant at Calais in France will close at the beginning of 2024, putting 51 people out of work. 51 people. It blames the soaring cost of raw materials and a lack of competitiveness for the closure. I remember when I think I was 7 or 8 or whatever, and a friend of my mother who was the teacher, who was always traveling, brought me a set, and it was in a metal case. I mean, the case that was metal. It was like maybe 2 feet by 1 foot and about maybe 5 inches tall. And I made all kind of things with it. The thing that sticks in my mind the most was I used to uh I used to ride roller skates everywhere. I mean everywhere. I used to go up to the fourth floor. No elevator where we lived in Jerusalem. Up the stairs and down the stairs with the skates on. I mean, it was like second nature. And I made brakes for the skates from the Meccano set. I wore out quite a few rods scraping the sidewalk, but that was a great, great piece of toy. I mean, you could sit for hours with the motors that if nothing was working on electricity, it was all wind up and pulleys and build all these little cars and little heavy equipment that only your mind can come up with and play with that. And then take it apart and put it back in the box. What a shame that that thing is. I think over here, I still have.
They're not closing, Amnon.
They're not.
They are just not producing it by themselves anymore.
Right. There's going to be another
Yeah.
company that's going to take it and do something with it. But
The brand is still there. The toys are still being produced. It's just, it's no longer going to be produced in its own factory because
okay.
somebody else owns it today,
Yeah.
right? And they're consolidating costs.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, but
It's a shame.
interesting. 1901, it is when it went public. It was invented in 1898.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's absolutely fantastic. Because as a toy, right? Somebody who saw the potential of engineering
Yeah.
as play is great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Alan. The Erector set is sort of like, but
Yeah, that was the US brand
Yeah.
that tried to compete with it. Yeah, I've just read about it. Yeah.
but it's it was amazing just to sit there and put the screws together and hold these things and just design something without thinking about it. Just design it as you go, kind of thing. It who knows how many engineers it produced. It it uh it
Yep.
it's it's something. Like I said, I think I have a small box on one of the shelves that have pieces. It was a little set. I mean, I looked at it. I can't remember. Somebody had it that they didn't want it. I said, "Yeah, I'll take it. I'll do something with it." Never did, but it's a real, like, it's got maybe 10 strips
Yeah.
and some. But,
Yeah,
yeah,
and today we have Legos and we have Kinects, which also works on on the same spark of imagination of kids,
Yeah.
right? In a way. And yeah, but that was one of the first for sure.
Amazon. Ready for it? Amazon on Wednesday said it had closed its $3.9 billion deal for primary care provider One Medical. They own it now.
Yeah, I saw the message on the website.
Yeah. Amazon agreed last July to acquire One Medical to deepen its presence in healthcare and dramatically improve the experience of getting medical care. Amazon has long had ambitions to expand into healthcare, buying online pharmacy PillPack in 2018 for $750 million. Then launching its own virtual clinic for chronic conditions and prescription perks for Prime members. The deal gives Amazon access to One Medical's more than 200 brick and mortar medical offices in 26 markets and roughly 815,000 members. I think
Yep.
Facebook also did something similar, and they're getting into because they always
I
wanted to.
mean, I looked at they're not relevant for North Carolina, so
Yeah, they're not.
like then I didn't go. I didn't look further because I can't. It doesn't matter what I'm going to learn about them
Yeah,
now. It's going to change for me later. So
yeah,
they're definitely not an option. But I don't know what they're providing that is. It doesn't feel like anything is going to be unique. Like if you think about what Amazon did with Whole Food, there is
yeah.
nothing special about that. They just bought Whole Foods.
Yep.
Whole Food is still Whole Foods. Yeah, they serve some Amazon services within it, but it's not like they made a big dent by purchasing it, right? And I
They
mean, society-wise, it doesn't feel like it has
they help
changed.
secure their own base of customers with the discount. Where you can
Probably.
go in and get a, I don't know what the percentage of discount is, but you can get a discount.
Well,
And
yeah,
it,
my Prime, my Amazon Prime credit card gives me the same 5% back as I get
yeah,
from purchasing in Amazon. That, yeah, but it's like
it
nothing
doesn't,
changed in the way it
no,
acts, right? So
doesn't make me go to Whole Foods.
exactly, exactly. That's
If you
what.
were a Whole Foods customer already, it made sense.
Yeah.
And they, I think they were looking, didn't they at one time look to use the Whole Foods locations as drop points for people to pick up other stuff?
They are.
They still
They
do
are.
that, but they have that everywhere. That Whole Foods is not unique. They've got, I can go to
Right.
places in my neighborhood that have drop boxes,
Right.
in
Or
the local
Coles,
area.
right?
Yeah.
They do that. So I don't know. It's like I do not see Amazon bringing anything. The point is, I do not see Amazon bringing anything new to the medical infrastructure in the U.S. They're not
Yeah.
going to be. They're not going to bring any ground changing.
Of course not. They're just going to use it
Right.
to
Right.
make more money.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
Or you can
as
pick
long
your
as they
you
don't
can,
make it worse, it doesn't matter.
you can shop for your diagnosis. Yeah, you enter your symptoms and say, here are the 10 diagnoses you could have. Which one would you like? And you buy that one and they send you the drugs and it's great.
So, for example, this is not to joke, right? When
Oh,
you look for a car part today, it asks you what's your car, and it tells you this, this will match your car or
Mhm.
not, right? When you're looking for the item, everything in the car sections. If they start doing that on medicine or one medical, I don't know. It's way beyond creepy, right? So
Yeah,
I
it
don't
is.
know. This is I don't know if it'll play well for them.
Oh,
Well, they should do like if you have if you have a OBD scanner, the one that I have, when you scan the codes, it suggests parts, and it actually has links to go buy the parts if you want to
Right.
use it.
That's
Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
and they fuel that by affiliation links. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
oh,
So it has suggested repairs. Sometimes they're somewhat accurate. Other times they're ridiculous. So it's
does OBD pick up the VIN number?
yes.
See that
Yeah.
now that becomes creepy. If it was everything but the VIN number, I wouldn't mind. But like
So the
that's too
VIN
much
number
information.
will, well, what the one I have does, it links you to recalls, it links you to forums with different
Of course,
diagnostics.
it's always a service, right? Yeah.
But it does help you because some cars you have, I forget what Ford model it was. There was something that Ford had like 6 different engines for the same vehicle. So this helps you identify, I don't know what engine I have. I have, it's 2.4
Yeah.
liters. Well, there's 3 of them. So it helps you pick the right part because you know what engine you have. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's fine to just use it every now and then, but to give it to Amazon,
no,
Exactly. It feels
There are
too
people-
invasive, right?
there are
Yeah.
people that have now OBD readers that they leave attached full time that actually talk back to
Via Bluetooth.
a server
yeah.
somewhere. And remember GM with OnStar used to have this thing where they would send you a monthly diagnostic report of what's going on with your car because it was always phoning home to tell, well, I went a little over on the oil change or, I had this error code and, I think they still do it, but I can't imagine that OnStar is the thing anymore. If people
Right.
actually buy it. It's very expensive. I had it in one
Ah.
car, and the only reason I had it working was because it was a leased company car. And the first year was included. And after that, had to pay for minutes. And I got pissed off because it turns out the minutes would expire every month if you didn't use them. Oh, it was not good. You have a crash sensor now on new iPhones and iWatches, Apple Watches that will detect a crash and will call you to say, "Are you okay?" And then
Yeah.
have medical advisors, kind of like what OnStar used to sell. It would detect a crash and would make sure you're okay and to dispatch help.
All right. Anything else anybody wants to add here? It's that time.
One other thing, I didn't bring it up, but it's just
Yeah.
I haven't been able to find backup for this story that I read saying that TP-Link, somebody is recommending that TP-Link uh, wireless routers, which are apparently installed in many US military bases. There was a blanket contract where they bought hundreds and hundreds of these access points. Now they're saying that TP-Link is somehow compromised because it's a Chinese company. So I don't know what the background is. It's still very early on. I don't know whether this just is a unreasonable assessment of it or not. But
I did not.
I was disappointed to hear it. But I hope it's not what this person was. This was a person in U.S. government who was saying they have information to say that they shouldn't be.
And you should always
believe.
believe the government.
No, I don't. I don't. And that's what I'm saying. I'm disappointed that I haven't been able to find backup to the story.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be true because I like TP-Link products.
Yep. Absolutely. No, I didn't see anything in my reading this week. Didn't even see what you saw.
Yeah, I spent some time here today
Yeah.
just trying to find the story, and
Yeah.
I couldn't find it.
It'll come up if it's true.
Oh, if it's real, it'll happen.
I wouldn't
No,
spend
realize.
too much time on that.
But it
All
was
right.
interesting.
Nick, anything?
Nada.
Nada. Gal, anything else? Nope. All right. Well, again, thanks, Nick. Thanks, Spence. Thanks, Gal. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Donna, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov and Yael. Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive, update your virus scanner, and change a same passwords where you use them. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Nick is on 980 The Wave in Wilmington and 107.9 FM in Wilmington. You can also listen to it on your Echo device. Just tell it to play 980 The Wave. It's a morning show with political and local, very informative material. Also and you can always go and listen to the recordings at nickcraig.com. Tuesday at 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection Podcast on Twitch. Survival games, gaming news, and some political discussion. So 7 p.m. on Tuesday, twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. Enjoy it, and we will see you back next Sunday.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.